My name is Paris Thompson, and I did my project on CTE in the NFL. The class is History of American Football. So, some background on CTE. CTE was first discovered in 1928 by Dr. Hussein N. Boxers. Essentially, he discovered that the hits to the head basically seemed to make the boxers, in a way, act drunk. Is how he described it. And so, in 2005, the first American football person that had passed away was known to have CTE. That then sparked the whole entire conversation of getting other people tested for CTE and other NFL players that have been out the league, things as such. So CTE is a degenerative brain condition or disease that is caused by repeated head trauma. It can only be recognized in mostly once an autopsy is performed and certain parts of the brain studied. As we see here in this picture, there's 3 brains. The one in the middle is obviously the CTE brain, and it has a lot of red dots in areas that can cause issues, as I'm going to talk about in the next when we talk about symptoms. So symptoms of CTE include impulse control, depression, aggression, memory loss, suicidal thoughts, and impaired judgment. The one I want to hold on the most is depression and suicidal thoughts. Most of the people that have CTE are extremely young, and so 9 out of 10, once they get depressed, it's very hard to pull them back out just due to the CTE and the other issues that may arise. So that turns into suicidal thoughts, and sadly to say, then suicide. Stages of CTE. So there are 4 stages of CTE. The first stage is lesions found in the frontal lobe, which includes memory loss. This is stage 1 right here. Stage 2 is lesions have spread to the adjacent cortex. This is stage 2 as well. Stage 3 is lesions have now spread all over the medial temporal lobe that causes violent reaction and impulse problems. This is stage 3. Stage 4, as you can see now, means that CTE has now spread over various parts of the brain. So the NFL and CTE. So over 315 NFL players have CTE. That number has probably gone up in the recent years, but that's just the most recent number that they have. So Andrew Waters was the first case that went worldwide. They created traction for CTE. After they studied his brain, after he committed suicide, his brain tissue was so severe that it was of a 85-year-old man with early onset Alzheimer's. Another person I wanted to highlight was Jordan Jr. Sue. The reason why I highlighted him is because he did die of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but his family never really thought he was suicidal, and they wanted to see if there was a connection between his time in the NFL, the repeated hits, and his suicide. And they definitely found out in the end that he had CTE once his brain was studied. Philip Adams is a strange case, if I do say so myself. He had CTE, and he probably had, once the brain is studied, he probably had stage 4. He was young, and he ended up murdering 6 individuals and then killing himself. As I said before, he had a severe case CTE that had spread among his frontal lobe. I think people need to realize that CTE is much more important than they realize. People getting hit over and over again with not proper treatment can make them have a terrible life once they're done playing the game, and even while playing the game, because all it's doing is building up, and over time it just attacks you. There is no cure, there is no there's no stopping it. It's going to be there. So the best thing I can say for football players is just to normally get checked and just do what you're supposed to do to keep your body healthy. Don't try to play once you have a concussion. Don't try to come back. Just try to sit it out, wait, go to the proper doctor, catch your wise early, and be able to just go to somebody that you can talk to before the issues get any worse. And also I want to highlight that people in their 20s and 30s have accounted for 24 deaths due to the CTE. Another thing that I want to say before we end this is that the NFL does not want to be liable for this. So in order for them not to be liable, they have created certain rules and regulations to stop players when they have concussions, or other players when it comes to targeting and things like that. And some people may think that it is soft, but it's not soft. It's protecting the players. In the day, players are only going to be in the NFL for so long. Whether they had a good career, whether they had an okay career, whether their career was not good at all, they still play in the NFL. And being in the NFL causes hits. And it says that there are 50 NFL players are hit 50 times probably each game. But that is my project. Thank you.